My name is Harrison Wheeler. That's my acronym, Harrison Allen Wheeler. Happens to be HAW. I was born with a very warped sense of humor. It also stands for humor, art, and wellness. Basically, I use design and comedy to educate and normalize and kind of rebrand this idea of mental health, because let's be honest, as we're hearing all over the news with the Bell Let's Talk campaigns, and there's such a huge push with mental illness. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people are afraid of it. And I have experienced that humor is a really great way to communicate about it, because it dissolves that barrier of understanding. I am uniquely qualified to talk about this stuff because I myself am crazy. Yeah, I'm nuts. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm wacko taco. I'm cray cray, as they say. Of course, it's not cool to call anybody crazy. That's not nice. We don't. It's a derogatory term, and it does perpetuate negative stigma with mental health. It doesn't matter if you have OCD or PTSD or LMNOP. The correct term for someone with mental illness is human. Okay? We're all human. No, but legitimately, I have bipolar, and I am an addict. I'm bipolar type 1. I want to make that clear. I'm not bipolar type 2 or type 3. Let's all agree that the original is far better than the sequels. Okay, I don't really need to experience those. It's excellent. You know, we want to look at our physical health, our spiritual health, our environment, our intellectual, our emotional, our occupational, and our mental health. But unfortunately, the mental health was the last one. And I think we're at a point now where we need to reverse that. I'd like you just to kind of imagine that, you know, our mental health is like this, it's this layer that is underneath all of our other health. And if our mental health isn't in balance, then everything else slowly gets out of whack too. 82% who suffer, it says it impacts their work. We've heard this earlier today. And 1.5 million suffer from a mental illness. Again, I would say that a lot of that is undiagnosed depression. It usually happens around age 25, although there is some significant research to say that people are being diagnosed later in life as well, mid-40s. It's a mood disorder of equal opportunity. Yeah, it doesn't discriminate. So color, race, sex, anyone can get it. 1 in 5 people with bipolar will commit suicide. But it is treatable. You can live a very healthy and a productive life with this condition. And I'll reiterate this later again. For people who may be exhibiting strange behavior in the workplace, a lot of this is self-stigma. Okay? From my experience, most people want to understand. As humans, we want to help. Okay? But we have, I can only speak from my own experience. I had such a paranoid perception of my own self-worth. As Linda was talking about, our own self-worth, self-acceptance was so low that I was ashamed of myself. I felt like a giant loser, and I couldn't be functional in any way, shape, or form. If you ask yourself, if you had met me randomly, or if I was a colleague at work, would you know that I had a mental illness? Easy. She's like, oh yeah, for sure. As soon as you walked in the room, buddy, man, for sure. Some sort of like X-ray mental health vision you have. No, but you wouldn't, would you? Right? That's the thing. Mental illness is invisible. It is, like I said earlier, it is that layer that exists underneath all of our health. And it is paramount to how we function in society, how we function at work, our productivity, our relationships at work, Stress, as was articulated earlier, the germ of so many illnesses. We need to ask ourselves, what's missing in our lives, what's missing in our workplace, what isn't being said, okay? 67% struggling with stress symptoms say it impacts their work. And stress, as I have just articulated, is the underlying cause of acute mental illness, ranging from anxiety, depression, obesity, et cetera, hives, vision issues, all of these things. What you put out there in a positive way, and the way we communicate, and the way we listen is such a huge thing too, but the way we communicate is like, it's like putting, manure in your garden. The garden's just gonna grow. So if you actually actively compliment people, your whole environment, it doesn't have to be trite. You don't have to walk around saying, hey, you look great and you're fantastic, keep it up. You actually legitimately want to have that come out in a natural way. Art can do that as well. I love your point of view. It's different from mine and it's wrong. But I love your point of view. To you. And as a group, I'm going to leave with a bit of a creative challenge here. Turn over the paper and see if you can come up with a sentence or a slogan or a piece of advice or something you'd like to communicate. It doesn't have to be funny. It doesn't have to be overtly wise. It could be whatever comes out of you. The idea behind this is that we are all communicators and we are collective brains in our organizations, and we all have advice. We all have things that we'd like to share. I think that's a really important idea to keep in the back of your head. Ask yourself, how can we do that when we go back to work? Time. Communication is the cornerstone of your wellness programming. It is the cornerstone. Brian's research stated that right at the top of the morning. If we don't talk about it, certainly if we don't talk about stigma, and start treating each other with compassion as individuals who need support. Someone described something to me recently that I really liked. It's called secondhand mental health. It's like secondhand smoke, but way worse. And that is someone who works in your environment, in your work environment, may be very fit and very sound, very productive individual, lots of productivity, etc. But they may be caring for someone, either at the onset or later on. Maybe they'll have a child who develops schizophrenia. And that's called secondhand mental health. That is then, you're not hiring the individual anymore, right? You're hiring the family, you're hiring the community, and that's something that really needs to be communicated too. Anyways, again, yes?
I just want to say that was really an impactful message. Thank you so much for sharing your courageous struggle that you've been through for quite some time. It's really something, and I just want to say thank you for all that you're doing now, for wanting to make a difference for those that are going through what you went through.
Oh wow, thank you very much. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you.